Hey, it's your boy Hendo checking Hendo coming to y'all with another video. I want to thank y'all for coming in, checking out the video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know what y'all here for. I want to walk y'all down how everybody comes from black people. It's the truth, honesty. Let's hear what these Americans have to say about it though.
The average African American genome is very distinct from the African genomes from which they were taken. Now you couple that with the fact that there is more genetic diversity within the African continent than in the rest of the world put together, which means that on average, someone from Senegal is more different genetically to someone from Angola than either of those people are to anyone else on the rest of the planet. And that's just what the genetics says. So I know this is quite a brain scrambling concept.
No, I'm with you.
But this is one of the problems with the earlier conversation about how we categorize people. We say black people, right? Because Linnaeus said black people, Homo sapiens Afra or Africanus. But actually it's a completely incoherent biological category because of the amount of genetic diversity that exists in people from who are in Africa or from the African diasporas. So how this relates to the transatlantic slave trade means that you've got two people taken from maybe neighboring tribes or counties or whatever the equivalent is, or countries who are taken from their birthplace,
watch this video
put onto ships,
to manifest
mixed
your dream
around,
vacation.
maybe live or die. They then traded around, forcibly mated potentially. We know from the genetics now that there is a lot of European DNA in the African American genome.
Watch this
and
video
mostly
to manifest
it
your
is
dream vacation.
from male Europeans into female African Americans. So, figure that out. Interestingly, the converse is also true. Many white Americans have up to 20% of African ancestry that we can measure in their DNA.
So as you can see, it comes down to the DNA to start with. You have to start with the DNA. And when you're starting with the DNA, you start to see that black people's DNA is more diverse. In the black people, there's more diversity than if you put white people, Mexican people, and every other people around the world together in one group. We still have more diversity. There's more diversity on the continent of Africa than there is around the whole world, period. And they're all black people. So what that says is that we, as black people, we are not the same. So delineating and saying that you have a Jamaican or a Nigerian, those are true identifying markers probably of genetics in us because we're not the same.
So melanin is a carbon-based molecule, and carbon is the backbone of all life on Earth. It's what makes us organic. In fact, every living being is carbon-based. But because melanin is especially carbon-rich, some scholars and thinkers highlight black people as the most directly connected to this life-building element. Carbon in its purest form is black. Literally, think of coal or graphite. It also transforms under pressure into diamonds, which is a powerful metaphor for resilience and brilliance under struggle. Spiritually, many esoteric and even Afrocentric and other traditions link carbon to dark matter, creation, and universal energy. And in older cosmologies, darkness wasn't evil, it was the womb of creation. Being carbon people ties blackness into that original creative force, making the body a living conductor of universal energy. This links with the idea that melanin absorbs and transforms energy like carbon. It's a conductor, a protector, a life giver. All life is carbon-based, but melanin is one of the most carbon-dense molecules in the human body. This is why melanin
Watch
can
this video
absorb,
to manifest
store,
your
and
dream vacation.
transform energy. From sunlight to sound vibrations, neuromelanin found in the brain, both are linked to life preservation and evolution. It's both a scientific observation and a spiritual observation, recognizing
Watch this video to manifest your
as
dream
the
vacation.
foundation of life, a reflection of the universe itself.
Peace, guys. So I want to talk about melanin and carbon and before I say anything about it, remember, watch my pin video. I am a student of both. So essentially, this is the melanin formula, right? Which would be 18 carbon atoms, 10 hydrogen atoms, 2 nitrogen atoms, and 4 oxygen atoms, right? So essentially, a lot of people call themselves melanated beings or carbonated beings.
Watch this video
right?
to manifest
So
your dream vacation.
Now, this would be the carbon formula: 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, not the melanin formula. This is the carbon formula. So we're going to use Google for some definitions, right? Because Google is not reliable at all. But essentially, when you call yourself a melanated individual, you are saying that you contain melanin, right? You're saying that you are a black or a person of color, meaning that you are a melanated being, meaning you contain it. Now, it's important you watch when you call yourself a carbonated being, right? Because essentially carbon and carbonate are 2 different things, right? So carbonate would be, this would be the formula of carbonate, would be CO with a negative charge of 2. And it also contains carbon dioxide. So essentially, when you call yourself a carbonated being, you're saying that you're global warming. That's what you're saying, right? Because of the CO negative 2 charge formula, right? So it's important you call yourself a carbon being, right? Or a melanated being. Now, which one is better? Let's get into that. So carbon would be the base life of forms, right? It's the glue of life. It's the most common element in the universe, right? So essentially, which one is better, to call yourself a carbon being or a melanated being? So let me give you an example. I can't call myself a carbon being. I can't call myself a carbon being. I can only call myself a melanated being, right? Because a carbon being would be this. So this would be a carbon being, right? Not a carbonated being, a carbon being, right? I'm a melanated being. I can't call myself a carbon being because you got to look like this to call yourself a carbon being, right? So get this. Essentially, which one is better, to call yourself carbon or melanated, right? So essentially,
watch this video to manifest
carbon,
your dream vacation.
You're now connected to science, right? You're connected to the electron because carbon is the electron. It is the God particle. So essentially, when you call yourself a melanated being, that would be the God particle on a spiritual term, right?
Watch this video to manifest your dream vacation.
Melanin, spiritual. So essentially, when you call yourself a melanated being, you're now open more to expansion, because essentially most carbon beings don't expand on carbon, but they expand on melanin. So you get that? Well, you can call it whatever you want, but you get the point.
As much as they try to downplay the importance of melanin, melanin is found in every part of the human body. It's found in your eyes, it's found in your skin, it's found in your teeth, it's found in your hair, it's even found in your brain.
Watch this video to manifest your dream vacation.
A lack of melanin is a disease. When you have a lack of melanin in your bones, it creates osteoporosis. It gives you weaker bones. It gives you bone fractures. When you have a lack of melanin in the muscles, it gives you muscular dystrophy. When you have a lack of melanin in the brain, it's called the melanin concentrating hormone. It gives you depression. Why do Caucasians have this incessive need of looking down on people? Because if they don't have somebody to look down on, they're gonna unalive themselves. A lot of them are depressed. A lot of them are antidepressants. So if they don't have a group of people to look down on, they're gonna...
That's why your eyes are brown. You actually see the full color. You see this color where white folks see a paler tan, because the more melanin you have, the more you can see what God has meant for you to see. The more melanin you have in your taste buds, the more you can taste the full flavor of the food. No other race can taste an apple like you can, because they can't absorb the full flavor, because you need melanin to absorb the full flavor of food. That's why we combine food differently from other races, because we actually can taste the food. That's because of the high amount of melanin we have, which we sometimes take for granted. Melanin is the chemical key to life. There is nothing else to study in science but melanin. We call it chemi, which means black. The people who study melanin particles call what they studying, the science is called chemistry. What you call chemistry, the study of melanin particles.
Watch this video to manifest
that go around in an orbit, and we call them electrons, protons, solitons. Those are melanin particles. That's why we call it chemistry. And the country you come from is called Kemet, which some people call Egypt.
Watch this video.
There's nothing else to study but melanin. And if you study chemistry or heard of chemistry and haven't heard the word melanin, you have just been studying social science. You go into a classroom and you call it biology, but biology is the way melanin controls the cell. And we
Were Africans the first humans on Earth? That is the big question. I recently made a video talking about Lamar and Chloe and how I feel like the Kardashians go after black
Watch
men
this video
specifically
to
because
manifest
they are
your
so
dream
powerful.
vacation.
And so somebody asked or commented, I would love to hear more about the ancestry and power of black people. Okay, well, what if everything you learned about ancient history was flipped? I mean, I feel like by now we should all know that everything they taught us is probably ass backwards, right? Well, there's this book called When the World Was Black, the untold story of the world's first civilization. So it talks about how black people were the first people of our civilization and how we all stem from black people. Now, me specifically, I know I do because I'm Puerto Rican and it is Black, Spanish, and Taino. So yes, totally makes sense. But yeah, they are all over. They spread all over. Okay, we all come from black people. Yeah, and I'm not just talking about Africa. Okay, this also includes Egypt, Mesopotamia, even some parts of Europe and Asia. Okay, so the idea is that humans started in Africa, they spread all across the world, and then they built the early societies. But over time, through invasion, migrations, and power shifts, the original identities were erased or rewritten and whitewashed. Which means that what we learn today is not the full truth. And that's obvious, right? We all know that we've been lied to our whole lives. So this book claims that history has been whitened and civilizations have been rebranded over time. So if this theory is true, which I'm going to go with it is, because we've been shown a map and Africa is pretty small on the map compared to all the other places. And we know that Africa is actually way bigger than it is on the map. So it's like, why are they trying to dim black people so much? Why are they making Africa so small on the map? Why do they feed us this story about Africa being, in poverty and these, we need to feed the children. And then they were, in our history, we know that they were enslaved. There is a reason why. Okay, we all
watch this
stem
video
from them.
to manifest your
so
dream vacation.
If we come from them, would that not make them more powerful because they are essentially who created civilization? On top of that, they have their ancient rituals, their ceremonies, their practices that they did. And
watch this video to manifest your dream vacation.
Are so scared of them. Because they are very powerful. They are very powerful. Their roots go way, way, way back, okay? They essentially started everything that is going on today. Like, they created humanity. In the grand scheme of things, this is what this book is saying, that black people are the ones who started everything. And if you are racist and white, you're going to disagree and you may get mad about it. But maybe go do some more research and you'll find out that, yeah, we all stem from them, and that's why they're so powerful, and that's why they were enslaved, and that's why Hollywood goes after them.
What did you find?
We did not see
watch this video to manifest
any
your dream
even
vacation.
one single individual that could be considered as the descendant of the Homo erectus in China. Rather, everybody was a descendant of our ancestors from Africa.
The result couldn't have been any clearer. How did it make you feel as a Chinese person?
After I saw the evidences that we generate in my laboratory, I think we should all be happy with that, because after all, modern humans from different part of the world are not so different from each other.
Devil, shut your ass up Every time you look at a African man and a African woman, you are staring at your creator. You are staring at your maker. You should bow before them every time you see them to thank them for breathing a breath of life into y'all evil asses. The African man and the African woman are the originators of civilization. Y'all knew nothing about civilization until we showed y'all what it was. The only thing y'all civilizations are built off of is the backs of our ancestors. Y'all civilizations are built on corruption, destruction, evil, chaos, manipulation, and murder. Y'all enslaved our ancestors, made them build y'all immoral civilizations, and y'all think that's the best civilization? Devil, please, that will never be the best civilization. All things evil will fall.
How does a people accused of having no culture end up being the most copied culture on the planet? Sit with that for a moment. Really sit with it. Because that
Watch this
contradiction
video
alone should
to
already
manifest
make you
your dream
pause.
vacation.
Not argue, not defend, just pause. So instead of getting loud, let's slow this down on purpose. Clean, measured, intentional. They say Black Americans have no culture, no language, no tribe, no origin. That claim only works
Watch
if
this
you
video
believe culture
to
has to
manifest
be
your dream
ancient to be
vacation.
valid. Like culture is branding instead of formation. If culture needed ancient receipts, half the world wouldn't qualify. So let's remove the noise. No mythology, no aesthetics, just timelines. Here's the accusation exactly how it's usually said. You don't know your tribe, we know ours, so we're more authentic. Okay, then let's talk about when those tribal names actually stabilized. Not when people existed, but when the names became fixed as collective identities. Yoruba as a unified ethnic label does not stretch into deep antiquity. It stabilizes
Watch this
between the
video
1600s
to manifest
and the
your dream
1700s.
vacation.
That's a historical process, not a prehistoric one. Igbo follows the same trajectory. It also stabilizes as a collective ethnonym between the 1600s and the 1700s. Before that, there is no single pan-identity. Akana emerges through confederation, trade, and political alliances between 1400 and 1600. Fulani consolidates gradually as a named ethnic group between 1400 and 1600. Hausa forms as a unified identity through long-distance trade and Islam between 1500 and 1700. Those are not ancient dates. Those dates sit directly inside the same period when Black people are already documented in the Americas. So pause again. If our ancestors are already here in the 1500s and 1600s, while these names are still forming and stabilizing, how exactly are we supposed to be those tribes by DNA? That's not disrespect, that's chronology. Now slow it down again. Let's talk about what those identities look like before the labels. Before the name, people identified by city-states. Ile-Ife, Oyo, independent political centers, not one big ethnic brand. Before the label, there were autonomous villages, decentralized societies, no central authority, no unified name. Before Confederation, there were shifting polities organized around gold trade and regional power. Before consolidation, there were pastoral clans defined by occupation, movement, and cattle networks. The people were always there. The labels came later. That's normal. Names are political, administrative, linguistic. Names are not blood. Now let's talk about language, because this is where the superiority claim really slows down. Yes, these languages are old as speech continuums, but their modern forms are not ancient. Yoruba has been spoken
Watch
for
this
centuries,
video to manifest
but its
your
writing
dream
system
vacation.
and standardized orthography developed mainly in the 19th century. Igbo has hundreds of dialects. The standardized version is not ancient. It's formalized in the 20th century, especially after the 1940s. Somali
Watch
has
this
a long
video
oral
to
history,
manifest your
but
dream
written
vacation.
Somali is officially standardized in 1972. Zulu expands rapidly as a named language in the 1800s, and its written form is standardized in the late 19th century. So when someone says, "I know my language," what they usually mean is, "I speak a modern, standardized version that was fixed within the last 100 to 200 years." That's not ancient purity, that's modern organization. Now let's flip the mirror, because Black Americans do have languages, plural. Black American English, AAVE, emerges between
Watch
the
this video
1700s
to
and
manifest
the
your dream
1800s.
vacation.
It has stable grammar, 10 tense and aspect systems, phonology, internal rules. By linguistic standards, that makes it a legitimate language variety. We also have Louisiana Creole, formed in the 18th century. Gullah Geechee emerges along the southeastern coast in the 1700s. We also have Black indigenous languages that predate the United States itself. All of this exists alongside shared foodways, shared music, shared spiritual systems, shared kinship structures. That's not absence, that's density. Now let's talk about how cultures actually form. Anthropology is very clear. You don't need thousands of years to become an ethnic group. You need shared history, shared geography, boundaries, intergenerational continuity, internal recognition. That process can happen in 200 to 300 years. Black Americans have over 400, and not just time, but 4 centuries of forced endogamy, legal isolation, shared struggle, shared resistance, shared cultural production. That is textbook ethnogenesis. So here's the contradiction with nowhere to hide. If ethnic groups can form within a few centuries, and you accept Yoruba, Igbo, Akan, Fulani, then denying Black American ethnogenesis isn't logical. It's selective. And here's the part people avoid saying out loud. Black American culture is the most influential culture on earth. Music, language, fashion, dance, slang, political movements, global youth culture copies it every single day. Hip-hop, jazz, blues, rock, R&B, all Black American. Global slang comes from AV. Global protest language comes from Black Americans. So ask yourself slowly, how does a people with no culture create the culture everybody else is living in? That's the pattern. And once you see it, the myth doesn't survive another listen.
Watch this video to manifest your dream vacation.
And there you have it, the truth about Black people, the truth about the world. That all these people come from us. I just got into an argument in my comment section with a guy saying that basically my son hyping me up. He like, get him, daddy, get him, daddy. Yeah, but I just had an argument with a nigga in my comment section basically trying to tell me that they aren't mutated Black people, like that Black people are colonizers because we push people out the tribe or whatever. And I was like, no, nigga, y'all are all mutations of us. We can't colonize the land that we were on first. And you are us in a way. They are us. White people, because they come from us. There can be no them without us. That's just the truth of the world. But it's been your boy Hendo. Appreciate y'all for checking in. Like, comment, subscribe. Hype this video up. And we out.